What's up guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to try and recreate one of my all-time favorite paintings. So there's something you guys probably don't know about me. Probably because I never told you, but that's kind of beside the point. You know that I like painting things that are on the realistic side of art, like these paintings I painted in the past. But you might be surprised that as an art admirer, I don't think I would actually buy the kind of art that I paint. If you would give me an option between something like this or something like this, I would pick this every time. But anyway, I have a story to tell you. So, if you will lend me your ears, sit back, sip your bubbly soda, try not to throw up because it's pretty terrible, and enjoy. Let the story begin. I was working on a commission late one night a while back, August 31st to be exact, when I decided I was going to do something a little crazy. This happens to me every now and again. I decided that I wanted to recreate one of my favorite paintings. I sometimes will save pictures of paintings that I find on Instagram that I like. This one I found quite recently and absolutely loved it. This was done by artist Ans DeBigi. Really hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. She also has a website, and you can find her on Instagram at those two places at her name. I will link them into the description and right here. She is an amazing artist, and I would definitely recommend checking out her stuff. Anyway, I was at a stopping point on the commission that I was working on, and decided that instead of going to bed, I was going to try to do this painting. But there was just one little problem. I had absolutely no idea how to paint this kind of painting, or at least I'd never done it before and executed it with any satisfaction. But not knowing how to do something has never really stopped me before, so why should it now? As I said, I had never painted this kind of painting before, so naturally I had no idea what I was doing or even where to start. I did a rough sketch of where I wanted the peppers to be, and then got out my brush. The wrong brush. First problem. So right off the bat, this painting was going downhill fast. As you'll notice from the original painting, it was painted on a much smaller canvas. Problem number 2, 15 by 15 centimeters, which is 6 by 6 inches. My canvas was 11 by 14. Yeah. Also, I figured this out after I had started trying to paint this thing, that the artist had used oils, not acrylics, to try and paint this piece. Now, I've noticed that oils have a much warmer hue than acrylics do. Don't know why that is, because I don't really paint with oils. Maybe it's because they mix linseed oil or other things into their art, or maybe just the pigment with the combination of oil is a more mellow and more warm tone. I don't know. I always work with acrylics, and they seem to be more on the colder side of the spectrum. But I didn't know that at the time, so loads of headache were in store for me. But back to the first problem I identified, the brush. After I had painted with the small bristles a little bit, I realized my mistake and got out a bigger sized brush. First problem eliminated. I started with the foreground, which is a no-no because you are always supposed to start with a background first and work your way forward. And I didn't take the necessary time in figuring out what colors I needed, and I definitely paid for that in a few gray hairs. I got out a cold gray, thinking that that would be a good idea for the table color. For some reason, I forgot about what the reflection from the bright red peppers would do to the table color. Yeah, when I say this was difficult for me, I'm not exaggerating, even though kinda after the fact it seems kinda dumb. But what am I doing? I'm getting ahead of myself again. Back to my story. There were a lot of interesting colors in this painting that I wasn't expecting to be there, like browns and blues and purples. These colors were mixed into the table reflections to give it more pizzazz and flair. All of this, as I stated, I figured out after I started trying to paint this thing. Look, it was late. Give me a break. I was having trouble color matching and figuring out what colors the artist had used when I saw a portion of the canvas that the artist hadn't painted over. It was at this point that I realized where I went wrong. I had completely forgotten to follow my own rule and paint the canvas before I started. All paint is transparent to a point and can be affected by the color underneath. That was why I wasn't able to color match correctly, which really came back to bite me later because I kinda had to paint everything twice. I believe Miss Ans used burnt umber to paint the background color first, which is probably what I should have done if I'm trying to color match and kind of copy the original. So once I figured that out, I was at least able to start heading in the right direction. I painted what remained of the background that I hadn't touched yet with burnt umber, filling in the other colors. Because I messed up At the starting process of this painting, I had to compensate for the coefficient of expansion, which is something my dad used to always say. Painting in purples and blues was really weird for me because I normally paint in colors that make sense to the painting. I really can't find any reason for purples or blues to be in the painting. But hey, I didn't paint the original photo, so I don't really know what the original artist's reference photo looked like. But I have to say, it definitely added character and style. Once I had the background, at least somewhat where I wanted it, I started on the peppers. And I was not prepared for how hard it was to color match the oranges and reds. There was always something wrong with it. Too pink, too orange, too brown. It was transparent at first, which I expected, but when I tried painting over it, it never seemed to work right. I've been painting these pieces for my Wilderness series, which are black and white, and I think I've kind of forgotten how to color mix. The deep red and solid orange were giving me the most trouble. It just never seemed to be as deep as I wanted it to be. I tried mixing all of my reds and all of my oranges together with no satisfaction, until I tried mixing in yellow. For some reason, I can never remember that yellow, when it is mixed with orange and red, can give you beautiful oranges and beautiful reds. Once I eliminated problem number 45 of not having any idea how to mix paint, I was finally on track to have a good painting. I put some of the random purples and blue reflections in the necessary places to match the original. I got out my greens for the stem of these red hot chili peppers. I don't really know what kind of peppers they are. Hopefully they're not ghost peppers, but I don't know. And the stems were actually the only easy thing to do in this painting. Either I got lucky with the color greens I picked, or I finally remembered how to paint. I can't remember which one. It was late and dark. We're gonna go with that. Anyway, I did a little bit more color blending with the oranges and reds, put a little bit of black around the stems to give it a little bit of contrast, and then I was finally ready to add the highlights. This is probably the coolest part of this kind of art. I made a rhyme and I wasn't even trying. It still looks kind of bad up until this point, until you add in those nice, beautiful titanium white light reflections. Ah, that is so satisfying. The end. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. This painting is for sale on my website, kemptercanvas.com. Link is in the description. Also, I will put links to both Anne's Instagram and website in my description if you would like to go check out any of her artwork. It's actually amazingly affordable, and she's an amazing artist. Anyway, click right here if you would like to watch any of my older videos, and I will see you in the future. Peace out.